Good morning, English teachers. Today we are going to talk about final tasks. So I'm going to share my presentation. Okay, so here we are, final tasks. You know that the curriculum, at least in the province of Buenos Aires, says that we have to work with task-based learning or a task-based approach. So first of all, I'd like to remind you who I am. My name is Jimena Barrenti. I have been teaching English for 18 years, almost 19 in November. I'm 38 years old. I am currently living and working in Zárate, but I'm from Luján. I have worked in bilingual schools, private schools, public schools, and language schools, and I have taught English to kinder, primary, secondary, and adults. So here we are. The final task is the first thing that you have to think about before creating your unit, because your unit and all of the activities will lead to that final task. So that's why it is the first thing that you have to think. Like what do I want my students to create at the end of this unit? So then you prepare all the activities and the tasks that lead to the final product that you want your students to create. Remember that the final task is about searching, exploring, communicating, and creating something. Okay, it's not like, okay, the teacher will stick a poster on the board and the students will say sentences about it. No, the students have to research or explore or investigate or like, of course they can create the poster and then explain, like, for example, this is my family, or uh, something related to fashion or whatever you are teaching, of course. So another important thing to take into consideration is that whenever you want your students to do a final task, you should provide a clear example of what you want as a result. Okay, in this video, as you can see, of course, this is a very simple model, but the idea, I did it like this because then my students could explore whatever options they wanted in Canva. But I wanted them to see that I wanted the photo, the name of the inventor, 5 or 6 clear information like where and when he was born, or actually he or she, sorry. So where and when they were born, what they invented or discovered, if they got married, if they had children, when and where they died, and then they had to include like an interesting fact about the life of the inventor, creator, or whatever. And then, of course, when they worked with Canva, they added other pictures, they added a background to the page, and I told them that they were free as regards the presentation or the layout of the final task. So this final task that I have just shown you is related to my unit called Da Vinci, which you can find on my website if you want to buy it. Students get really engaged with Da Vinci and all the things he did and he discovered. We analyzed the past simple of regular and irregular verbs, and then the final task is students searching and investigating about an inventor they want. They can't repeat the inventor, so they have to tell me beforehand. They work in pairs, and I give them the specific questions that they have to look for. I've told them I do not want 6 or 7 pages with information and then you translating them, like, I mean, not them, but maybe the chat or Wikipedia or whatever. No, I just want you to communicate like the simple things about this person in the past simple in English. And so that's what they did. And now I'm going to show you some examples of of units and final tasks that you can carry out with your students. So, for example, if the topic is looks, I mean appearances, a final task that you can create with your students is a description of family members. So students can bring photos of their family, whoever they want, of course, and then they can describe their family members like, this is my mom, she's got short brown hair and she's got blue eyes, for example. Or if you don't want to go into that topic of the family, some English teachers are afraid of working with that because students have different families, and I understand, but I mean, I think we have to embrace the reality, not only of our students, but ourselves, and talk about it. But well, if you don't want, you can ask students to bring photos of the famous people they admire, they know, or that they see every day on YouTube or on TikTok. That could also be interesting and meaningful for them. And then another example could be fashion. So if you're talking about clothes, for example, the final task can be a fashion show, like for real, having students, of course, asking for permission and having students walk on the catwalk and having other students say what that student is wearing. Maybe they can even bring clothes they want to show in this fashion show. And if you don't want yourself to get like so complicated, well, maybe you can create a fashion magazine. Maybe you can work together with the art teacher and tell them that students should draw like a model of certain clothes as if they were designers. And then you put all those models together and you create a fashion magazine, and students have to say what they created, what clothes they created, or what clothes they would like their model to wear. Another example, Olympic Games. And this is a topic which my students really like, and we usually I don't include all the games of the Olympic Games, but some, and they really like them. And we talk about Olympic Games. Of course, you can buy the unit in my, you can buy and see the unit in my website. And so the final task could be a presentation about the sports, their rules, or about the sports people and their lives. It depends on the topic you are working with. Maybe if you are working with the present simple, students can invent, of course, the routine of sports people, what they imagine these sport people do every day. Or maybe you can talk about the rules. Of course, again, you should try to have different sports in the classroom so they don't copy another group and they learn more about different sports. And for this, if you are talking about the rules, you can work with a PE teacher, why not? And ask them to help you and to maybe revise the rules that the students find out on the web to see if they are okay, or maybe to play one of the games that students have looked for on the internet. I think it's an interesting idea. And the last example of today, of this video, is that, well, I have a unit which is called Who I Am, and we talk about the verb to be, personal information, countries and nationalities, numbers, and as a final task, my students create a passport. And so they complete with their real information, because anyway, the passport is not going anywhere. I mean, it is something for us inside the classroom. And so I tell them that they have to find out their ID number because they need to include it. And in my case, I don't ask them for a photo, but if you want, you can. I mean, it depends on the resources of your community. And you can also create a fingerprint with ink for the markers and have students stamp their thumb on the passport on the sheet of paper that you are doing. I usually take a buy and take green cardboard to the classroom, so it is like as similar to our passport as possible. Um, yeah, so if you would like to see the units that I have just mentioned, they are all in my website. You can go and check. And if you have other ideas, please comment on the video. Or if you would like videos about a certain topic, also leave a comment below. So I hope you have a lovely day. See you on the next video. Bye bye.